There's a lot going on with the Foo Fighters at the moment. After a decent period away from the limelight, for no reason at all, they are back. And they're up to something. Since their little break, the band have replaced Josh Freese with Ilan Rubin, released just one single in the form of today's song, and have been playing a bunch of impromptu shows in small venues and only telling people about them on the day. This, combined with their bigger final clue, is proving that something is happening. But what? So let's break it all down and try and make sense of what's going on and what could be coming. Is it something big? Let's find out. We'll start off with talking about the most controversial thing that has happened. Josh Freese's exit. Well, sacking from the band. Because it could give us a clue for what to expect. Before we jump into this, let's get some context. After the sad and tragic loss of long-term Foo Fighters legend Taylor Hawkins, there was a lot of pressure for the band to get the right man in as his replacement. As time passed, suspense and speculation grew on who the new man behind the kit would be. When May 2023 came around, Foo Fighters announced they would be doing a live stream titled Preparing Music for Concerts with the full lineup of the band. This is where they introduced Josh Freese as their full-time drummer, and it was received with almost universal praise for the band arriving at that decision. For starters, Freese had an impressive resume, playing with bands such as Guns N' Roses, A Perfect Circle, and he had filled in for bands such as Paramore and Weezer. Therefore, he was seen in the scene as one of the most reliable fill-in drummers active at the moment. Then, after touring with the band for 2 years, Freese was unexpectedly sacked in a pretty harsh way, with the band citing they wished to go a different direction with their drummer. Freese then posted a cheeky but really funny post to Instagram, citing the reasons he could have really been sacked by the band, with tongue-in-cheek comments citing reasons like, once whistled My Hero for a week solid on tour, could only name one Fugazi song, 2 words, polyrhythms. The person who would then step in would be Ilan Rubin from 9 Inch Nails, but this actually signalled to the world that within the joke Freese had posted, he'd actually stumbled on the correct answer. It seems like Freese's clinically precise metronomic style was actually the issue. When he entered the band, he brought with him technical proficiency and gave the band some instant stability that they needed, delivering the Foo Fighters catalogue flawlessly. But as fans quickly discovered, while he could hit every beat perfectly, something was missing, and that was the raw, manic energy that Taylor Hawkins had brought into every show. So yeah, he was let go for being too in time. But it makes sense. Rubin's style, while it still has the technical sophistication you need to be drumming at this level, let's be clear, no drummer we are talking about here is bad. Hell, they're all brilliant. But with that said, his style naturally brings back the raw rock power, giving him the ability to handle complex fills and polyrhythms while bringing back the oomph and aggression of Hawkins' playing. Plus, he is clearly inspired by the legendary John Bonham, just like Dave himself. Look, I was sceptical when they first let Freese go. I'm sure everyone was. But in the long run, I think this is a great change from the band and a perfect fit. And let's be honest, Dave must be a pretty tough guy to impress when it comes to drumming. It's also worth mentioning that since leaving the band, Freese has stated he never truly resonated with the band's music. And if you've been in a band, you can tell when someone isn't feeling it straight away. So with the drumming style changed for creative reasons, and creative reasons is something we'll come back to, the band's next move raised even more eyebrows. Soon after Freese exited the band, the Foos released a single on July the 2nd. This would be titled Today's Song, with all members playing their respective instruments, and Dave covering on drums. This song was released to mark the last 30 years of the band and the journey they had been on. After the song's release, Dave gave us a little explainer saying the song was about personal evolution, perseverance in the face of life's uncertainty and the passage of time, and extended his thanks and gratitude to former members, which included Josh Freese, William Goldsmith and Franz Stahl, while also offering a tribute to Taylor. The lyrics themselves, like the opening line, I woke today screaming for change, I knew that I must, clearly signalled this drive for renewal and transformation, which is exactly the message we got when Freese was removed. The song is a pretty typical Foo Fighters track, a mid-tempo power ballad that starts out soft and then builds into anthemic rock sound. Yeah, big guitar tracks and Dave's gravelly vocals. It's the Foo Fighters formula. I'm not going to big it up beyond anything it's not. The song is okay, but it's not groundbreaking. Overall, the reception of the song has been mixed, with some critics and fans finding it generic and lacking the soul of their best work, especially after the punch and acclaim of But Here We Are, while others saw it as a beautiful, reflective track that does exactly what it was meant to: honour the band's history and offer a message of optimism. The cover art was also a nice touch too, as it had been designed by Dave's daughter Harper. The question is then, does it point to something bigger happening? Is there a new album? A new tour? Well, the thing is, the release of a single doesn't always guarantee a full record is on its way. In fact, releasing standalone singles is a common industry practice now. So before trying to deduce what the band is planning, we should probably look at another strange element of the Foo Fighters' recent behaviour that offers a bigger clue about their immediate plans. And this is the fact that they're playing live shows again. And these aren't just any live shows either. The Foo Fighters are currently playing tiny pop-up gigs. It's strange, right? I mean, think about it. A band that normally sells out stadiums and arenas is playing 700-person capacity clubs with just a few hours' notice, telling fans through a quick post to their subscriber list, and causing absolute chaos for the box offices of these small venues by making every gig pay on the door. They've even made some big changes to the set list. They've popped in some rarities and deep cuts that the band hasn't played in years, and in some cases, decades. They've dusted off Have It All, and even the early B-side Winnebago. So far, they've played 4 intimate shows, 2 in California, 1 in Washington DC, and 1 in Connecticut. The interesting thing is, some of these venues the band played on their initial tour, which as mentioned, was 30 years ago. So yeah, it's weird, but it feels very deliberate. The final and perhaps most definitive clue that something is coming came in the form of an AI-generated video. But what on earth is being hinted at? Simply titled, A Message from the Foo Fighters, this short clip acts as the explicit promise that all the recent activity is leading to something massive. It's an entirely on-brand piece of self-aware comedy you'd expect from the Foo Fighters that features heavily distorted, synthetic versions of the band members with unsettling visual artifacts, extra fingers are here, there and everywhere, warped faces, and new drummer Ilan Rubin suddenly sprouting 8 arms like a drumming octopus to play a comically massive drum kit. I mean, if the footage is real, I can see why Josh Freese may have been shown the door, but I digress. The irony is the core message delivered by the uncanny deepfake Dave Grohl, a promise that the Foo Fighters are returning to bring fans the 100% real, raw, human element of rock and roll. But the important thing is, it finishes with a promise for exciting stuff to be announced. So what's coming? The most immediate and highly probable announcement is a world tour. I mean, it's almost undeniable now. The combination of pop-up shows and the AI video makes it a dead certain. The tour dates that they already have in Asia and Mexico don't detract from this. If anything, they're just a first segment, allowing them to build into a larger tour for what is looking likely to be announced for 2026. The pop-up gigs are giving this lineup reps and making sure it is road tested, having integrated Ilan Rubin under pressure. Rehearsing all those deep cuts too is a major clue that they have refreshed their entire set list in preparation for, I don't know, maybe an anniversary tour. Yeah, it makes sense, right? The AI video was a performance-focused video too, and it certainly feels like the final teaser before a big reveal. So I hope I get this video out in time. Are we certain it's a tour though? The arguments against it are, they might just be holding the announcement until after the Asia dates, or that the club shows were just rehearsals for those shows. But these arguments are pretty weak. So if I was you, I'd start clearing your calendars and saving your pennies. So yeah, weighing up the evidence, I think we can certainly expect a Foo Fighters World Tour for maybe late 2025, but realistically probably 2026. But what about an album? While a tour is almost guaranteed, the question of a new studio album is more complex. It is almost certain that the band have been creative and have been in the studio. Today's song proves that. The entire narrative of them rejecting synthetic music and delivering the real, raw human element, perfect, authentic hook for a new record. And if you watch some of these shots, even though they are fake, some are intentionally placed in a studio setting. Furthermore, the switch to Ilan Rubin's new drumming style, with the band citing a different creative direction, suggests a deliberate creative shift that could have been positioned for a new album to showcase. However, the question is about timing. Their previous album, But Here We Are, was only released 2 years ago, which is a short cycle for a band on the size of Foo Fighters. But as we mentioned, they have had some time off. I think we can certainly look at today's song as a one-off. It was framed as a 30th anniversary celebration, and I reckon it may be the only new song for a while. The band's priority will almost certainly be a tour at this moment in time, although I do think the evidence points to a new album coming. New drummer, fake studio shots, clear evidence of the band being in the studio, new music released, it all points to that conclusion. And adding to this, the fact that Dave's work ethic is almost unparalleled, it really does seem likely. So yeah, a big tour is probably coming from the band next year. And I think we could be looking at a new album in no time. Let me know what you think though. Are we away to see a new tour? Are the Foos preparing for a new album? Let me know.